Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Spellbinders recently released several different Christmas collections. In today's video, I'll be using the new Winter Tales collection, and I selected 3 different items from that collection to play with. I have the Enchanted Garden die set, lots of fun whimsical looking flowers. The Peace and Joy stamp set, there are 25 stamps, lots of great Christmas sentiments. And I also have this Ski Lodge embossing folder, and this is a nice large size. It's just under 6 by 9 inches. It's perfect for A2 size cards, 5 by 7 cards, slimline cards. I love the large size. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I used the embossing folder on some white shimmer cardstock, and I'm adding a panel of craft cardstock, which I cut too short, so I did need to pause the video and cut out a second piece. I generally add a lot of layers to my cards instead of having the one cardstock as the full background, so I think that's why I miscut that craft cardstock piece. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. I'll adhere that using a little bit of ATG tape, but also some liquid adhesive. It always helps to have extra adhesive when you're adhering to specialty cardstock or any surface that's been embossed. Along the edge of the craft cardstock, I'm adding some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the pinstripe style in the blue mirror color. Wrap those ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back, and also some liquid adhesive along that very outside edge. I'll add my card front onto a card base. Then I'll start working on the images. I've already cut out all of the pieces, decided to go with some patriotic colors along with green for the stems and leaves. I'm adding 3 of the flowers to that craft cardstock. Start with the shortest stem in the very center, then add the other 2 on the outside edges. Just glue all of those down using liquid adhesive. I love all the different floral pieces that you can mix and match together. Lots of different options using this die set. So once I have all of the stems and leaves down, I'll start adhering the flowers. Some of the flowers are one single piece, while others have multiple layers to adhere together. And to customize those flowers, you can always leave off a layer or add an extra layer. For this first flower, I have 4 different colors, red for the background, white for that larger piece, and 2 different shades of teal. For the next one, it's just the light teal and red, and for the final flower, it's the dark teal and red in the center. So I'll just adhere all of those down using liquid adhesive. Before adhering them in place, I will lay them on top of the stems, that way I can get the placement correct. Next, I'll work on the sentiment Joy, and I've already laid out all of the letters in my mini Misty. I have some white cardstock, and I'm using the Rocking Red ink color from Catherine Pooler. I trimmed down the sentiment, put liquid adhesive on the back, and adhered it underneath the craft floral panel. Now using a white gel pen, I'll add some highlights to the flowers, the leaves, and the stems. This is such an easy way to add fun detail to your card. And you can add as few or as many highlights as you want. It does help to have a good white gel pen that flows nicely. I've used some in the past that always clog, but this is one I found on Amazon and it works great. And I do have a link in the description if you are interested. For final finishing touch, I'll add some gem stickers from Spellbinders. This is the Opal color. Put 3 of them in the upper left-hand corner, 3 in the lower right-hand corner by the sentiment, and also 1 on the flower in the middle. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I love the vibrant colors with the craft and white for the background. For card design number 2, I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from Freshly Made Sketches. It's number 361. I will be using just a little bit of pattern paper for this card, and this is Sunny Studios Holiday Cheer Collection. For the very background of the card, I used the embossing folder again, this time on some light pink cardstock. I love the design of the embossing folder. I'm using the deboss side, and I'll be layering it on a darker pink cardstock. And this cardstock's really fun. It has the darker pink on one side and the light pink on the other. It's old cardstock, so I know it's not available any longer. The two pattern paper designs, one is a light gray and it has white snowflakes, and the other is a white, pink, and red stripe pattern. I'm layering the snowflake paper and also the pink background on the darker pink cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For my cardstock layers, I usually add an additional 1/8 of an inch to the measurements I have on the sketch. So that pink background is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the dark pink cardstock layer is 4 1/8 inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. Now I'll add a couple of the floral pieces. Decided to go with pink, white, and red for those flowers. One of the stems has an outline and you can adhere it onto the solid piece. For that solid, I did use some more of the Sunny Studio pattern paper. It's a pink tone-on-tone polka dot design. And I'm using red cardstock for the largest portion of both of the flowers. And the white, I used some white glitter cardstock. Just glue all of those pieces together using liquid adhesive. Then I'll adhere them to the stems. I am using a pair of reverse tweezers to hold some of the teeny tiny die cut pieces. Just add a little bit of liquid adhesive and adhere the last flower on top of the stem. For this sentiment, I've already stamped this out. Have a magical Christmas. Before adhering it to my card, I will add a scrap cardstock piece on the very left side where it goes off of that snowflake panel. Then I'll adhere it in place using liquid adhesive. To finish off the card, I'm using some of the new pearls from Spellbinders. This is the Fashion Poppy color. It's a beautiful red, perfect for Christmas, or this would be good for Valentine's as well. They do have adhesive on the back side, but since I'm adhering them onto an embossed surface, I decided to add a small drop of liquid adhesive as well. There are 4 different sizes. I'm using one of the smaller sizes, adding 3 of them to the left of that snowflake panel. Then for a final finishing touch, I used a clear glitter brush to add a little bit of sparkle to the darker pink leaves. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from MFT. This is number 282. I have a panel of craft cardstock that I've embossed using Spellbinders September Embossing Folder of the Month. I love the fall design. And I've also added some gold paint splatter to the background. I'll layer this panel along with a strip of white cardstock onto some dark brown cardstock. Put some ATG tape on the back of that embossed piece along with some liquid adhesive. Now I'll stamp the sentiment directly onto my card panel. And this is not a new sentiment from the Winter Tale collection. This was released last year. It's part of the Charming Pumpkin stamp set. Decided to go with Fall Blessings. I had this sentiment already in place in my Mini Misty, then realized I had it set for when the card panel is already on the card base. So first I'll attach my card front to my card base. Then I can place it back inside my Mini Misty and stamp out the sentiment using the Icing on the Cake ink color from Catherine Pooler. And you'll see here in a moment why I wanted to use a fall sentiment instead of the Christmas sentiments. So the reason I selected this sketch was for those small circles. One of the flowers on the Enchanted Garden set looks like sunflowers to me. So I thought it would be fun to make a fall card instead of a Christmas card this time. I cut out the flowers from some golden yellow cardstock. In the very center, I used dark brown cardstock. Adhere all of those onto some small circle die cuts. Before adhering those in place, I wanted to add a little bit of separation between the white cardstock and that craft cardstock. So I'm using another Love from Lizi peel off. This is the pinstripe style in the gold color. Just put it right underneath that craft cardstock panel. And I'll use my craft knife to cut the end on the right side. Then I'll lay out all of my sunflowers, try to get them nice and evenly placed before adhering them down. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'll use some liquid adhesive and adhere them in place. And it's hard to tell in the video, but the center of the flowers have this fun crisscross pattern. And when I'm gluing them down, I'm making sure that crisscross pattern is all going the same direction. I attached the center sunflower down first, then put the two to the right. Now I'll add the final two sunflowers on the left. For a final finishing touch, I'm using a white gel pen and adding just a few highlights to the brown portion of the sunflowers. So there is my finished card, and I did make two using this design. I decided to keep it nice and clean and flat, so I didn't add any bling this time. Now here's another look at the 6 cards I made using Spellbinders' brand new Winter Tales release. There are so many fun products included in this collection, and I only selected a few of them. If you want to check out the entire collection or take a look at the rest of the September releases, I do have links provided in the description box below. There are lots of great new Christmas products, and it's nice that they release their Christmas products early enough so you can still use them this year for your Christmas cards. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.